I'm Jacob.
I'm Michael.
And today we're reviewing Batfinger's No One Knows single, which was only released in Japan and nowhere else in the world. So this is a pretty unique, special, rare one, whatever you want to say, released by Warner Brothers to support their second album, Wish You Were Here. By the time it came out, the band was already pretty much at the end, which we won't touch on too much on this video. We're just going to talk about the music today and how this not necessarily fared as a single, but what kind of potential it had, and maybe in an alternate universe, hearing this on the radio, if we think it could have been a hit. So I'll start by saying I think Chris Thomas kills it on this, and everything on Wish You Were Here. Production is outstanding. At times is a little bit like a nursery rhyme. The chorus can be a little repetitive, but it has so much power, and the guitars are so beautiful and so melodic, but still powerful, which is kind of Badfinger's niche. I think it's definitely a huge step up from kind of the previous Love Is Easy and I Miss You releases that we had reviewed.
The double guitar in it is very representative of a Badfinger peak attraction that we love so much, and you have that on the single. You have the solo in the middle, and the most beautiful guitar fills. I believe it's Pete and Joey on that, which is what we love so much when they did that. The guitars almost have a chiming, ringing bell-like tone to them. They're so beautiful on this song, and it just rings. The song literally rings very melodically, as you mentioned, and yet in a certain way though, when I hear it, it's Pete writing. It's not the earlier success that he had. The harmony is there, and the Badfinger trademarks are there, but what really does stand out is the guitar work and the recording of it. As you say, Chris Thomas was a master on the whole album, really. The guitar in the middle is fantastic, as I mentioned.
Why is someone speaking Japanese over it? I mean, maybe it was good for this Japanese single, and that's why they picked it, but
I don't think it was for the single. Well, who knows? I think it was Joey's idea. Mika, I don't know who she was at the time. I don't have an answer to that.
But it almost seems like, the guitar is secondary to that spoken word piece, and I think it would have been better if it was, the guitars were up front and the vocals were maybe in the back.
I agree. It just seems like it's almost as though it's in the way, which I don't think was originally meant to be. But, beautiful melodic, Pete Ham song again, but punchier than what we reviewed lately. I Miss You, etc. This is on the right track.
And I love the ending. Those opening chords that become the closing chords. It's so ominous the way it kind of flips right back to it. I always love that ending. So I think that's it feels like kind of a hit. And then the B-side, although it's it's said to be You're So Fine on the pressing, it's actually Just a Chance. So we don't really know if it was a misprint that was supposed to be Just a Chance and it was printed wrong on the label or vice versa. And we'll review it as Just a Chance. Really powerful power pop song. Slashing guitars all the way through, probably among my top favorite Badfinger songs ever. Definitely stands out as should have been a single from that album. I think it's so high vocally too, which Pete Ham could also do. Not on his hits, he would often be in this really high register, and I think that song is there for sure. And the solo is amazing. I think it's Joey. I think just the way it kind of meanders into frame and out of frame, and it's like his signature thing.
I think you may be right.
I think it's perfect for the song. It's got kind of an edge to it that it brings into it, and there's just so much feeling behind all of it.
And tumbles down as the vocal comes back in, just stays down in a beautiful waterfall of notes. I've never quite been able to separate them, but it's beautiful guitar work throughout.
And then the ending, I was going to ask you if you thought that was like Beatlesque at the time you heard it, because that's a nice touch I think they put on it too.
It was a powerful touch, and it was Beatlesque in the way that they start drilling the harmony into you, and even one octave higher, I think, at the end, that time goes way up. Oh, Just a Chance is a powerful track. It's a very, very, having to open their last album, and it opened it well. It got your attention.
What's interesting is both of these songs were home demos that are on the Japanese version of Southern Park Avenue, Goldberg's Green Brick. Yes. Both of them had just Pete Ham playing acoustic guitar in a much softer way, and they were both punched up into this like almost single format. I don't think there's any other songs from the album that came from that. So it's interesting to kind of see how much the production and the arrangement from the rest of the band played into that.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll just mention is that I saw there was a test pressing, I guess, in the Warner Brothers vaults for a single. I don't know how, if this ever became close, because we know the story that, the album was pulled after 1 week and the tragedy that followed there. But I guess the label was thinking of a single that had Just a Chance with Gotta Get Out of Here as the B-side. And I think I would agree that is probably the strongest kind of duality of those two songs that I would have picked for the U.S. market
Great
in
song.
1974, 75.
Great Joey song that you mentioned, and like many that he wrote, really, really powerful tracks that you almost believe in another group or in some other thing would have been real. I'd like to think they'd be well known because he's a great songwriter. Yeah, so we get to the rating point of the program. And I just off the top will just go with 8.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I am one of those rare but exceedingly more common, later generational people that actually, I think Wish You Were Here is probably my favorite Badfinger album.
Yeah.
No One Knows would not be my pick of the A-side, but I still got to give it, an 8 out of 10 is what I was thinking too. But that unreleased Just a Chance single, I think I would have given a 9. I think that's kind of the perfect promotional effort for that album. And I think it was something not many other bands were doing in 1975, was kind of back to the roots, but with this Abbey Road arranged kind of power to it. So, that's kind of the end of the main line of Badfinger singles. So we'll continue going forward with these and kind of see what happens next.